Hi, I'm Mark Dickson. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Freelance Income Podcast. Coming up in today's show, I'm going to be talking to Pam Glew about how she transformed her creative pursuits from an unknown artist living in Brighton to now showing worldwide with her beautiful bleach and dye paintings. That's all coming up in the Creative Freelance Income Podcast. Welcome everybody to the Creative Freelance Income Podcast. In today's show, I've got international artist Pam Glew to talk to us about how practice, how she gets her exhibitions abroad, and how she makes her work and balances her life. So, Pam, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, nice to see you again. I'll just let everybody know how we know each other and how this interview's come about. I used to live in Brighton, where Pam lives now, and we both studied our teacher training together back in, I think it was about 2006, was it?
Yeah, I lose track, one of those. Yeah, around then. It was a while ago.
Yeah, so since then, I've moved away and we've kind of kept in touch over the internet, but I've not seen you for absolutely ages. So this is quite nice to be able to interview you and be my first actual real interview person. So that's quite a good thing.
Good.
So, Pam, to get us started, could you let the audience know how you became a full-time international artist, showing in New York, LA, Germany, show starting tomorrow. How does that start for you?
Okay. Well, it started like way back. I studied theatre design and realised that I didn't want to do theatre design and that I couldn't make any money in theatre design. So I moved to London. I moved from London to Brighton and just kind of found myself making artwork that was on metal and started showing them in bars and restaurants and little kind of cafes in Brighton, and sold a few and thought, can carry on doing this, carried on doing it, and then realised that I actually wanted to be a full-time artist, but I realised that you needed a bit of part-time work on the side, so I did a PGCE with you, did a bit of lecturing and teaching, and was working a few days a week teaching, a few days a week making art, and then progressed basically from cafes and pubs where people would just pour drinks on the work, to then posh restaurants. And I got my first show in Brighton in a tiny little gallery called IO Gallery, which is on the North Lanes. And from there, it suddenly went a bit mental on the internet. People were buying my work on the internet. I got an Etsy shop and sold little artworks for like 25 quid that were just stencils like this big. Literally, they were tiny.
Yeah.
And it got to the stage where I was making more money out of art than I was out of teaching. And I clung on to the teaching job like that. Just really wanted the security.
Yeah.
And I was still teaching like 3 hours a week, I think it was. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Just let go of teaching. Because it was taking me like 3 hours to get there and then 3 hours teaching. And then, it was stupid. So eventually I went self-employed.
What sort of time frame are you talking about from getting your work in the local restaurants and stuff to actually thinking that I'm making enough now that I can let go of the teaching? What sort of time frame would that be?
Well, it was 2000 that I graduated. I think it was 2002 that I started showing in pubs and bars. And then I went self-employed because I knew I was getting part-time sort of art money in just after we finished the PGCE, which is 2006.
Yeah.
Or 2007, one of those. And then I did 2 years of teaching, and then I think I went full-time in about 2008, 2009 to like not have any jobs. So I haven't had a real job since 2008, 2009.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I've haven't had to like get up for work, but in a way you still work for somebody, even though I'm self-employed, I find myself, getting on a plane at 7 a.m. at Gatwick, having to go to a meeting somewhere crazy, or having to trek to London on a Sunday when there's replacement bus services to meet a gallery and spend 7 hours on transport. So you feel like you're working. You know.
And do you treat it as a job? Are you setting yourself hours that you go into the studio and they're your kind of working hours?
Yes, I used to be all the time at all hours before I had my son, and now I'm a bit more regimented with the hours that whenever he's at nursery I'm working. So at the moment I do half of Tuesday, half of Monday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then if I've got a deadline I'll do Saturday and Sunday, and I don't see my child much.
I was going to say that was one of the things I wondered how you were balancing your work and your work and your home life when it's something like with art, which is something you do as part of who you are. Is it difficult to kind of separate out, or have you kind of made it nice and clear for yourself?
It can. I because I've got my own studio, which is at the bottom of the garden, so at least I can close the door and have 6 or 10 steps up to the house and know that I don't really have to think about it. That separates it. And when I first got a studio, that was really nice, because I used to do artwork in my lounge or in my bathroom, or I think people just end up, you start making artwork wherever you can. The first flat I had in Brighton, I had a particularly large bathroom, and that was where I painted, because that was where I had the room. And then I know it's ridiculous. And I decided to use metal because I had this weird outside space that was perfect for patinating metal. And it was disgusting. It was full of bleach and ammonia and loads of bugs. But you just kind of work with what you've got, don't you? And so that's how I started. And now I'm quite regimented with my time, and I have like interns and assistants and stuff. So when they come in, I've got to work because they're here, and you can't just kind of not tell people what they're meant to be doing on a day. So
how was that when you first
took on your... I think I'm...
Sorry, what was you carry on?
No, I'm listening.
So how do you manage that as well? Having an intern, I can imagine when that first happened, that how do you manage that kind of process of getting somebody in and letting go of some of your work to them as well? How's that work with you?
Well, it was quite lucky actually. I got contacted by a college or university just when I think Finn was 1 month old or something, and this university lecturer said, "Do you fancy having an intern? Because I've got a girl who's in her whatever year and wants to do an internship with you." And I literally pounced on them and said, "Yes, like, yes, please. I need somebody." And I'd never really considered it before. It was never something that I thought that I'd do. Before that, I did have an assistant for a while, and I think I kind of needed an assistant for a bit for sewing, basically, and I know that I paint but I sew as well, and the sewing takes forever, literally so long that you can kind of spend the whole week just sewing something, and it looks like you've not been working. You look at it and you think, oh my God, nobody's going to pay. You can't, if I average out what I want per hour for a piece of cloth, and I kind of think, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So, it kind of works out quite well. So I now have an assistant that I pay, and I'm looking for another intern, basically, that will be like a work placement, expenses paid sort of thing. But no, I find it quite interesting and rewarding, and also it kind of feeds my desire to teach a little bit, because I've still got that kind of like, I like kind of giving advice, so it's a little bit of a sick bit of my mind that I kind of go, so what do you want to do with your life? And I end up kind of trying to be an agony aunt.
That's why I teach. So that's it. That's just for that reason. Somebody listens to me when I teach.
Totally. So I like giving career advice, so I get interns in and out, and I sort of set them on their path, and end up going, you don't want to work for me, you want to work for Harvey Nick, let's go here, or whatever. And I just find it satisfying.
That's brilliant. With your actual process, because it's obviously. I've seen that kind of develop over the last few years, and I love the stuff that you're producing. It's so iconic and really, really right on the button, I think. And but it's quite unique to you, isn't it? The process that you actually make your work is, I've not really seen anybody else doing anything like that. Can you just talk a little bit about how you go about producing a piece of your artwork?
Sure. So I get a flag or make a textile. So I might make a quilt from scratch that might be made of cotton or old flags or whatever. Or sometimes I get vintage flags just ready-made. Dye the whole thing black or a dark colour. So it might be dark blue, dark green, dark purple, whatever. But it's got to be really dark. And then I use bleach and a sharpened sponge. So I kind of tend to use car sponges and cut them into like little pointy things and paint with those, because it absorbs a lot of bleach and you don't get dribbles and you get kind of nice sort of soft edge. And I apply the bleach where I want it and then leave it until it looks like it is going the right colour, or if I see a hole, then I take it off. Basically check it and see how it's going. But normally,
So does it burn the cloth? Does it actually burn through? Yeah,
it can make holes.
Wow.
So if I kind of forget about something and make a cup of tea for too long, then I'm sometimes in trouble. But generally 10 minutes is okay. Half an hour is all right. Over an hour. And so I then rinse it out. Literally, I run into the house and rinse it in the shower and chuck it in the washing machine. Or if it's a particularly lovely bit of fabric that I don't want to shrink, then I'll hand wash it. But yeah, if it's a huge thing, I'll just stick it in the washing machine and dry it and then iron it. And then the next day I'll do another layer. So it probably takes about 10 layers per picture. So it's 10 working days or something. But the actual painting is quite quick, but it's just all the laundry either side of it is the thing. So it's very much
bleach on all of your clothes.
Very much like women's work. Huh?
Get bleach all over your other clothes. It feels like,
yeah. Well, normally black dye is the problem because I use the washing machine for the black dye thing. So Finn's baby grows have quite a few black spots on them.
If you make a mistake with the bleach, is there any way of rescuing it, or is it because with it being natural? Can you re-dye if you've bleached it?
Well, the bleach takes away just the black dye and leaves the pigment underneath. So there's a bit of, I can use a bit of fabric dye to kind of slightly tweak something, but it never goes exactly the right colour. Say if I've dyed it sort of navy blue and I want to, kind of match that navy blue colour. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So generally I don't mess up. I kind of, it's quite tight actually, the way I paint it. It's quite kind of like, it's not like free expression. It's it's almost trying to be photorealistic, which is quite annoying because it's not really something that I thought I'd end up doing. But you can tell if something's wrong with the face. You can tell if the nose looks wonky or if the mouth looks in the wrong place. Or faces are annoying.
Yeah, that's why I love doing portraits though. For that reason is that it's right or wrong. You can look at something and think that doesn't look like that person, and I love it. I'm a little bit kind of what's the word? I've got that kind of, I don't know, it's narcissistic, but I like that feedback from people that say, oh, that really looks like that person, and that's what I kind of crave out of those things. So that's why I love faces, really. That kind of thing. But
I sometimes I did abstracts instead.
Yeah, go for that. So with the actual exhibitions and stuff that you're getting, showing all over the world, And I've seen, you've been on I forgot what the French newspaper's called, that you got the cover of one of the French newspapers and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's just amazing, to see that. So how are you actually sourcing those exhibitions, and are you approaching galleries? Are they approaching you? How is that working for you?
It's a bit of both, really. At the beginning, it was me sorting out everything, and I had literally like one of those massive A4 ring binder files full of rejections, and I used to keep every rejection. This is back in the old days where people wrote letters, and I used to keep all the rejections. But now it's like email; you can just ping off a few like low-res JPEGs, and then if you don't hear from them after a few weeks, then you pretty much know you're never going to hear from them. But I still do applications to galleries and do the kind of CV and the bio, low-res JPEGs, and have a nice sunny little email that says, "Hello, I'm me, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to exhibit in your gallery." Da, 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 da. And I still exhibit by writing those little plea emails. But I also get people contacting me for shows, which is nice. I tend to get, for like UK stuff, people contact me quite a lot, but for abroad and stuff that's like in LA or New York or Sydney or whatever, it's generally me that finds the gallery rather than the other way around, because I guess wherever the artist comes from, they're more known in their own country than they are anywhere else, primarily.
So you just do internet searches for galleries, or is it through other people?
Yeah.
Somebody says, that'd be a good place for you to go to. Or...
A bit of both, really. I mean, sometimes it can be other artists that I'm exhibiting with in the UK. I kind of like stalk them and work out where they're showing. And, if you like the other artist's work that gallery's showing, then chances are they might look like you, and blah, blah, blah. And also it tends to be that the galleries I tend to find on the internet, and I'll kind of look at, say, like a big art fair like Scope New York or Scope Miami or whatever, and I'll look at who's exhibiting there, because this time last year that was my thing that I really wanted to show in Scope. So I looked at all the gallery websites and thought, if some of them show abstract work only, and I don't bother. If they only show video and performance, then that's not me either. So, you can pretty much wish it down to like 5 people that might think you're okay. And then I approached them, and luckily, I think 1 or 2 got back to me and said, "Yeah, you can show with us." That's great. So I think it's just kind of refined research. It's not just kind of going New York galleries, because you could be there for like a week looking at New York galleries. It's like, okay, where do I want to show? I want to show in Scope New York or whatever, and then work out who shows there. And that's how that's kind of how I got the last lot of American galleries.
And are you still, with the Etsy kind of stuff, are you still selling through online and through Etsy and stuff?
Not Etsy anymore, only because I think Etsy's quite craft based, and now I'm not so sort of crafty. And I didn't like the fact that when you're on Etsy, you kind of click off mine, and you can see somebody's dodgy made macrame scarf or whatever. For me, it didn't work, so I've changed now to Big Cartel, which is more. Artists and illustrators use Big Cartel, I guess, and craft makers tend to use Etsy. But for a time it was my bread and butter. So I still think that any artist that's starting out that wants to sell online needs to do something like that, whether it's folksy, Etsy, Big Cartel, something. It was it still sorts me out now. If you have a kind of a patch where there's not many shows or not many big sales, then that can be a lifeline, actually, the online shop.
Is it when you was selling mainly online like that, were you doing a lot of marketing of your stuff, getting like social media, or was you kind of getting your stuff out there, or was it just you got it up and people started seeing it? I think I was lucky. I was on that kind of
where people were looking for the next Banksy type thing. There was like I think it was 2008, 2009, something like that. When there was suddenly a boom in the art market, and I literally got the end of that wave. There's some artists that are really sorted.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
Wave because they were already on it. I wasn't really on it. I wasn't ready for that peak, basically. Sorry, you just broke up a little bit. So I wasn't really ready for that peak. So there were some artists that were really rode that wave of people trying to find the next Banksy, and they were like ahead of the game. They already had their screen prints made. They were already online. They were selling really well. I was a bit later than that, so I wasn't really ready with the screen print to sell. I didn't really have that much stock, so I think I wasn't ready for that early peak. And I think it must have been Banksy forums or something, that somebody must have said something about me, because suddenly I got loads of emails, and I wasn't marketing myself on Facebook. These were like the MySpace years, I had a MySpace page. So I did a little bit of that kind of social media things, but it was really just, I think every artist has a sudden peak, and I think every artist needs to be aware that there will be a point where their demand might outweigh their stock, and you never think that's going to happen, but it might, and then you have to be kind of like on it and ready, because in 6 months' time, people are on to the next big thing, and they want to get you when you're cheap, basically. So there was a point where I got loads of emails, and literally I didn't even have enough time to reply to everybody's email to sort of say, oh yeah, I've got this available or that available, or I haven't got anything. So I think it's something that a lot of artists and designers need to be aware of, that they will peak, and it's being ready for that peak.
That's great.
And being kind of not lazy. I think I was a bit lazy. I kind of sat back and thought, this is great. I don't have to work many hours a day.
Yeah, but that's quite a. I think that's quite. Oops, sorry. We're
still did full days.
Yeah. I think. Can you hear me? All right. I don't know if it's dropped out or not.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's
now.
Okay.
I'm back.
But yeah, it's. I think that's a bit of a myth of that kind of myth of the artist, that you swan in at 11, do a couple of hours, touch a bit of a painting, walk away again, and it is that thing about structuring your day and using that time productively, and it's right for some people. I think that they can do that very easily, get that work mode. But I think for other people, it's that dream of not working that they think it's going to be, which is just a myth, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it is about motivation when it comes down to it, and wanting to do what you do. And there's a reason why students at school pick art, and so there is still that thing of like, oh, it's quite an easy subject, art, isn't it? I'll do art, and it's actually really not. But it's kind of being motivated to carry on doing your passion, because I see a lot of my mates are artists and are really good, lack a little bit of commitment or kind of drudgery of having to go to the studio when it's raining and just do work just because, without anyone telling you what to do. So yeah, being your own boss is a bit of a weird one, because you've got to just carry on making, even without somebody telling you got to make work. You just got to carry on making. So yeah, that is really why they say your own boss, because you have to kind of imagine that you've got somebody shouting at you going, come on, make the stuff. It won't make itself.
And you've got an intern to shout at as well.
There's no point. Yeah, but I mean, they're not in every day. I've still got to come in when it's raining. or when I'm not feeling particularly great. Yeah, I think motivation is something that I think a lot of artists sort of struggle with, and it's now with social media there are loads of like motivation killers. You can kind of look on Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook and do your blog and fart around on the internet and not actually produce anything. You can just look at stuff and it can take up a whole day, and it's knowing that that's not really going to help you, right?
Yeah, just
looking at the internet is not work.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you can kind of busy yourself with, well, the thing about being busy. So as long as you've got lots of things to do, then you feel like you're productive. But it's not really. You just kind of like snipping the leaves off a tree, and you're not cutting it down, kind of thing. It's just busy so you feel like you're productive. So yeah, I think getting actual real actions done is kind of those important bits, really.
Yeah, lists. Even if it's just like two or three things in a list a day, just like having something that you can go tick is really satisfying. I think, everyone has different ways of working, but I find lists and calendars really useful. Like I've got a big wall planner that's got like where my deadlines are, so I know that I'm not going to really screw up by missing a deadline or not getting my artwork to the framers early enough to get it framed, to get it collected by the courier, to get it to the gallery on time, because everything's, if something's going to Miami or New York, then you've got to think about it in reverse. Go, okay, it's got to be there, and then okay, so we'll think about how shipping is going to be that, and then framing is going to be that. Oh, I've got to make it in a week. Okay, let's get on with it.
And is that quite expensive? The getting it framed and the shipping, because obviously I'm assuming that the galleries that you're working with are taking a percentage of your fees that you're charging. Do they help you cover the cost of framing, or is that coming out of your own kind of side of things as well?
Different galleries have different ways of working. So some galleries I work with ship for me. So I've just done New York Affordable Art Fair. So the gallery I'm with for that, they ship all the artwork because they're based in London. So they literally represent British artists. I send it to London. I pay for that, just for the van to London. Yeah. And they pack it all up, put it in a shipping crate, and it goes by sea. The only thing with that is it takes 2 months for it to go by sea. So yes, they pay for it, but I've got to make sure I've got the work ready 2 months before the fair, done, and framed. I've done quite a lot of shows where I've had unframed work, and I've literally just rolled it up and sent it, which is cheaper than sending framed work. And also I've started stretching things on canvas frames and having no glass. So I recently did a piece for Honolulu Museum, and that was, it's quite far away getting something to Hawaii. So yeah, that was just literally stretched over a canvas stretcher. So not having the glass, at least you're not worried about, what if it breaks, and the heavy weight of it would cost lots more. And then if it does break, do I know any framers that are going to fix it in Hawaii? No. So yeah, they'll have an unframed picture. So yeah, it's kind of bits that I did a show in Sydney that was like all originals. It was a solo, and I sent all the work rolled up and then framed it in Sydney. So I literally went to Sydney, and then we went to see the framers, and they framed it, and then had the show. So you got to kind of, because I've had some things that have been shipped framed from London to New York, and it costs like £1,500, something like that. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Only buyers that have got probably a bit more money than Bubbles will do that.
Yeah.
And there are some buyers that really want something to arrive at their house already framed, even though they might have a framer at the bottom of their road. Art buyers are funny sometimes. So, I've had lots of different ways of, framing unframed rolls. I'll always try to do it unframed because ethically it's better on the planet, I think.
Yeah. And do you have regular buyers as well? Do you have collectors of your things, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I know some, quite a lot, but I could think of a handful that have got more than 3 in the house, and sometimes they buy another one and I think, how many walls have you got?
Yeah.
You've already got 4 big ones that are 5 foot by 3 foot, and then you're buying another one, and wow, there some people have got a lot of walls, I think. And yeah, I sell small, medium and large, and some people collect like the drawings because they're quite small and they're like under £100. So there's quite a few collectors that collect my drawings, or they'll collect small pieces, or they'll collect the big flags. But yeah, there are like repeat buyers, which is really lovely. I mean, I think that's a bit of a godsend really for any artist to know that people are going to come back and buy another one.
Yeah, and knowing that somebody loves your work so much as well.
Yeah, I mean, to know somebody once, a couple bought a piece from an art fair and they put it on their credit card. No, they phoned up their bank and got an overdraft from the Affordable Art Fair and said, oh, can we have an overdraft? We want to buy a picture. And the bank said yes, and then they bought it. I felt bad. I heard about it afterwards and I thought, no, somebody's borrowed.
No. They've had their kitchen repossessed because of that. So do you get to keep...
Possibly, yeah.
If they're buying through the gallery and stuff, do you get the contact details of those, so that you can invite them to things and send, do the gallery pass it on, or do they keep it?
They keep it. Generally, they keep it. Generally, a gallery will take, say, 50%. Sometimes less, sometimes a bit more. Generally, it's 50-50. Sometimes if it's a gallery that's quite new, or they're matey with me, or they're lovely, then they might only take 30 or 40% from a sale in a gallery. Sometimes if it's a commission, they might only take 25%, or maybe as less as 10, because it's just going through them as an agent. Sometimes they charge that first and then split it. So effectively it's, I get less than half, but
and do you negotiate with that?
Make their money. Yeah, I can do, but generally each gallery has got their rules, and it's like, well, if you want to join this gallery, this is our thing, yes or no. So generally I don't want to have less than 50%. That's pretty much standard, I think, 50%. But yeah, they do. They keep their clients quite close to their chest, so they don't tend to like to give out that information, just because that might mean that you don't go through the gallery, you go straight to the buyer. Having said that, I think people like going through a gallery. A buyer likes to give their credit card to a smart lady in a suit in an art fair or in a gallery who's going to, have perfectly manicured hands and shake their hands and say thank you very much and smile, not go to some scummy artist workshop where there's, dust and bleach and I'm in dungarees or hoodie covered in paint. They're not going to want to drive up to my studio and have me roll it up and go, here you go, I don't have a credit card. Do you have any cash? They don't want that. They want the beautiful experience. So that's why galleries exist, isn't it? Because they want that good custom service. It's like buying a wedding dress. You want to go to a posh shop. Yeah. You don't want to go to the dressmaker's studio particularly. You want the posh, you want to be treated like a queen because you're spending quite a lot of money.
By the way, your wedding photograph is fantastic. I was stalking you through that as well, and I was looking back over your wedding, lovely pictures. And a lovely wedding dress as well. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
You were talking about your intern, and I know that you're at the moment looking for an intern. So how are you going about getting that? And is it something that I could, help you with through the podcast?
Yeah, great. Well, I generally have interns that come in and out of the studio. So when I've got a busy patch, sometimes they're up to 2 or 3 of us working on one thing at once. At the moment, I've got an assistant and I'm looking for another student intern. The assistant I've got at the moment started off as an intern and now she's paid. And yeah, we're really busy. So looking for a student intern who will be working in my studio in Brighton, in East Sussex, and basically sewing and ironing and helping making quilts and flags. It's basically textiles. So anyone that's really into sewing is what I'm after. And they can be any age, really. I mean, kind of A levels and up, really.
Okay.
I'm kind of open and flexible. But yeah, it's something that I find that the interns that I've had through have got quite a lot out of it. They've apart from the whole kind of getting their expenses paid fully, and also the potential of a paid position, they also get me kind of wittering on about career advice all the time. So and also contacts, and kind of like go, okay, actually, if somebody realizes that they are good at one thing but they would rather do something else within the field of art, design, textiles, fashion, whatever, then I'm quite good at kind of going, oh, you need to talk to so and so, and kind of connecting people so that in the future they can get another internship and go on their merry way to being successful in their field. So yeah, I think I quite like having interns. So that's why I'm advertising for another one. So yeah, I'm advertising in on Facebook and contacting anyone that I know that works in a uni or college, and I put it on my website and that kind of thing. And
so do you want people to email you? Is that the best way to contact you?
Yeah. So emailing me, which is info@pamglew.co.uk. Pamglew is spelled PAMGLEW.co.uk. Or it's all on the website, which is www.pamglew.co.uk. It's all on there. So yeah, it's just something that that I think sort of young students kind of tend to be quite into doing internships, and these days you need quite a lot of experience on your CV, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think
and that's how it kind of works, and all that. That's a good way of getting ahead, I think, having quite a lot of work placements.
Well, Pam, what I'm going to do for each of my podcasts is to end on some action that the audience can take, and the listener that's listening can take towards them becoming, getting their freelance freedom and transforming their creative pursuits into a profitable income. So have you got anything that you think that the audience and the listener could take maybe this week or just in general that's going to forward their dream of working as a freelancer and earning the money out of their creativity?
Okay, well, I've got two things. One is set goals. I think goal setting is really, really important because everyone's got their own vision of success and what they want to do in their sort of field. So set a goal for 1 week's time, and then another goal for a month, and then a goal for a year, and just write it down and put it somewhere that's pretty obvious, whether it's in your diary or on your wall or whatever. And the 1 week thing, say if it's for me, it can be in a week I need to get some photographs together to use as reference for a series of work. So that's my thing that I need to do in the next week. In a month, it's meet a deadline because I need to make sure that I've got quite a lot of work done for that 1 month deadline. And the year thing can be quite ambitious. It can be I want to show somewhere new in Europe, or I want to get a gallery that's down my road, or I want to make sure that I've got a solo show in London, or just something that it's kind of achievable but somebody can do in a year, and kind of keep on looking at your goals and kind of reaffirming them in your head, and they can change. You can kind of want something in a year and then realise too much, I don't really want that, which is fine, but it's just kind of keeping on top of your goals. And I think also the other thing is kind of being nice to people on the way up, because you might need them on the way down again. I think that is like I think the whole that
artists, designers, creators and stuff, we're kind of, generally a little bit scatty, a little bit like sticky, and we have to kind of fight against the kind of cliche of the artist of being a bit of a space cadet. So yeah, being really, really nice to everyone, and don't kind of don't ever be nasty about other people's work in public, because you can be a dead artist. I guess you can get away with saying that you don't like Jackson Pollock or whatever, fine, but don't ever be in a private view and say you don't like something, because chances are the artist will be next to you, or their mum might be next to you, or their mate might be behind you, or whatever. Don't ever just be nice.
That's nice. That's a good. I think being nice is a good mantra to live by. Really, I think.
But yeah, on the whole kind of advice thing, I think as far as setting up a business that's going to support you financially, I think I always work on the small, medium, and large scale. So I make small artworks that might be under £100. That's in my shop. I might make medium works that's just sold in galleries, and it's a certain size that hangs on people's walls. And a large, it's that chasing elephants thing, making stonking big museum pieces that either a large business is going to buy or a serious collector might buy. And I think any artist or designer can think of the small, medium and large thing.
That's a brilliant.
Because the small is your bread and butter. That's what you need to kind of keep churning over. Yeah. And the large things, when you sell one of those, that can sort you out for a few months, and you can kind of go, you can have a sigh of relief.
That's a great idea. I've not thought of it that way at all.
Large, in whatever scale. Well, I think it's the same with illustration, isn't it? You can kind of, you can probably do illustrations that can go on phone cases or something, or that are sold on T-shirts that can be for sale online, or you might get a percentage from the company, or you might make them yourself, or little screen prints or whatever, and then, large kind of commissions. It's almost like chasing after the big clients and saying to, sending emails to kind of agencies or big companies and saying, I'm available. And if you get an advertising job from Pepsi or whatever, then brilliant.
Fantastic.
That's the large thing. So that's the way I work it, small, medium and large.
Absolutely brilliant. Pam, thank you so much for taking time out of your really, really, really busy schedule, and really appreciate it. It's been brilliant to see you again, and I'll let you know when the new baby arrives, and I'll hopefully get down to Brighton. I've been down. I've not lived there now for 7 years, and I've been down 3 times in 7 years. How bad is that? So so when I'm down there, it'd be great to come in and see you and watch you see you with your mask on working with bleach.
I'll take the mask off for you. Really good to chat to you.
Thanks a lot, and speak to you soon. Take care, and big love to Finn and the family for me.
Cool. Yeah, you too. Take it easy.
Yeah. See ya.
Creative freelance income. Transform your creative pursuits into profitable income. Join us at creativefreelanceincome.com.